aunties and uncles from our father's side. What do you people really want? Watch this story to find out. A story written by Christy Midnight Tales. Some people are born with silver spoons, others are born with talent, but no one to protect it. Zara was one of those children. Her father had died when she was still very young, so young that most of her memories of him felt like dreams she wasn't sure really happened. All she knew was that her mother became everything overnight. Mother, father, provider, protector, and sometimes a beggar. They were 3 children, but Zara was the first, the one who saw everything, the one who understood hunger before she understood play. Her mother did not sit idle. Every morning before the sun fully rose, she was already tying her wrapper tight, heading to someone's farm. Some days she weeded cassava. Other days, she harvested vegetables she could never afford to cook in her own kitchen. When farm work was scarce, she washed clothes, bending over buckets until her fingers wrinkled and cracked, scrubbing stains that felt like they never wanted to leave. Yet, even with all that, there were days they ate once, days they drank water and slept, days Zara pretended she wasn't hungry so her younger siblings could eat, but Zara had something else, something nobody taught her: she could knit. It started one evening when she found a small ball of leftover wool someone had thrown. She didn't know what pushed her to pick it up. She didn't know why her fingers moved the way they did. She just sat there, twisting, looping, pulling, and before she knew it, a small, uneven piece of fabric lay on her lap. From that day, it was like her hands remembered something her mind never learned. She knitted caps, she knitted tiny scarves, she knitted patterns that surprised even her mother. Soon, she began knitting dresses, not ordinary ones, beautiful ones, dresses that looked like they belonged in shop displays. Dresses with shapes, curves, designs that made people ask, who taught her this? And the answer was always the same: nobody. Her mother watched her sometimes, silent tears slipping down her face, not from sadness, but from fear, because talent is a dangerous thing when you are poor. People don't always want to help you grow it. Some people want to break it, so it doesn't expose what they lack. As Zara grew older, the hunger didn't reduce, the farm work didn't end, the washing jobs didn't suddenly pay better, and one day, her mother made a decision that broke her heart, but felt like their only hope. She decided to send Zara to her late husband's sister, Auntie Vero. She will help train you in school, her mother said softly, forcing a smile. You will go to school properly there. You won't suffer like this. Zara believed her. How wouldn't she? She imagined a better life, a proper bed, school uniforms without patches, a house where food might be cooked twice a day. She packed her small bag. Even her knitting needles went in, wrapped carefully in cloth like treasure. When they arrived at Auntie Vero's house, the woman came out smiling, loud, exaggerated, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. My brother's daughter, she exclaimed, pulling Zara into a tight hug. But deep inside that woman, something boiled, because Auntie Vero didn't want another mouth to feed. She didn't want a reminder of her dead brother, and she certainly didn't want a child whose future might shine brighter than her own daughter's. Still, she pretended. Zara didn't notice the stiffness in her aunt's arms. She didn't notice the forced laughter. She was too busy looking around, heart racing with hope. Inside the house, her bag was taken from her and dropped in a small room. You stay here, Auntie Vero said casually. She went inside and met Precious sitting on the bed, a girl her age, her cousin's sister. The girl didn't smile, didn't greet her. She just looked her up and down slowly, like someone inspecting something unwanted. You share the room, Auntie Vero added, already walking away, as Zara began arranging her few clothes neatly, humming softly, excitement still bubbling in her chest. Precious finally spoke. Her voice was calm. Stop smiling like that, she said flatly. Zara turned, confused. You think you came here to enjoy? Better wipe that excitement off your face. But why? Zara asked. Precious leaned back on the bed and looked her straight in the eyes. Because tomorrow, she said slowly, you realize you didn't come here to rest. You came here to work. And Precious was not lying. Zara truly had a long day. The next morning, she didn't even wake up by herself. Before the sky could properly turn blue, Auntie Vero's voice cut through the house like a whip. Zara, get up. She jumped from the thin mattress, heart racing. Before she could rub sleep from her eyes, the first task landed. go and fetch water. She carried the bucket outside, the cold morning air biting into her skin. Trip after trip. By the time she returned, her arms ached. She hadn't rested when the next order came: sweep the compound properly. I don't want to see sand. She swept until dust coated her nostrils and sweat rolled down her back. Precious sat on the veranda, legs crossed, a novel open in her hand. She didn't lift a finger. She didn't even look up. When Zara finished sweeping, she was sent to the kitchen. Cook. She cooked, she washed plates, she cleaned the kitchen. Then Auntie Vero tied money into her wrapper. Go to the market. The sun was now high. The roads were busy. Zara navigated stalls, noise, shouting, returning with bags that felt heavier than her small body. By the time she came back, Precious was still on the same chair, still reading, not even pretending to help. Yet, in the middle of all that exhaustion, Zara still found time. At night, when her hands trembled from work, she picked up her wool. She knitted, slowly, carefully, as if knitting was the only place her soul could rest. That was when Auntie Vero started watching her differently. The woman would pause when she passed the room, stand longer than necessary, her eyes following Zara's hands with something dark brewing behind them, because Zara wasn't just working hard, she was shining quietly. A week later, Auntie Vero registered her in the same school as her daughter Precious, not because of love, but because she wanted Precious to watch her, to report her, to compete with her, to make sure she never went too far. But in class, Zara didn't struggle, she excelled. Her answers were sharp, her handwriting neat, her understanding quick. Teachers noticed, and then, they saw her knitting. During break, when other children played, Zara sat quietly, wool in hand. Soon, a small crowd formed. Even teachers stopped to look. Who made this? You did this yourself. This is beautiful. Compliments fell on her like sunlight. Precious watched from a distance. At home, she said nothing. But something poisonous grew inside her. One afternoon, they returned from school together. Zara was unusually quiet. She had been tired, mentally and physically, but she still smiled faintly, her knitting bag tucked under her arm. As soon as they entered the compound, Precious rushed ahead. Mommy. She called loudly. Auntie Vero came out. What is it? Precious folded her arms, her voice carefully shaken. Zara's teacher scolded her today. Auntie Vero's face hardened. Why? She glanced at Zara before answering. She said Zara is getting distracted because of knitting. Zara froze. That's not true, she said softly. I didn't. Keep quiet. Auntie Vero snapped, her eyes burned. So this is how you want to disgrace me? She continued. You've started already, making teachers complain. Zara's throat tightened. Auntie, I didn't do anything wrong. But Auntie Vero wasn't listening. She walked into the room. Zara followed, panic rising. Before she could understand what was happening, Auntie Vero began pulling things out, one knitted dress, then another, caps, scarves, pieces she hadn't finished yet. Auntie Vero dragged everything outside. Before Zara could scream, before she could fall on her knees, the woman struck a matchstick, and everything caught fire. Zara watched as her knitted dresses curled, shrunk, blackened. The colors disappeared into smoke. The work of her nights. The only thing that ever felt hers. She dropped to the ground. Auntie Vero stood over her. You think this nonsense will take you anywhere? She said coldly. As long as you're in my house, you'll stop this rubbish. Precious stood behind her mother, silent, satisfied. That night, Zara cried herself to sleep, not the loud kind of crying that attracts attention, but the silent one. The kind where tears soak the pillow and the heart feels too heavy to beat properly. She didn't cry only for the dresses that were burnt. She cried for everything she never said. For the hunger. For the humiliation. For the mother she missed so badly it hurt to breathe. By morning, her eyes were swollen, but it was Saturday. There was no rest. She rose before everyone else, and went straight to work. She washed Precious' clothes carefully, scrubbing stains that were not hers. She cooked. She cleaned the house. She swept the compound again and again until Auntie Vero was satisfied. As her hands worked, her mind drifted. She remembered her mother, her bent back, her tired eyes, the way she smiled even when there was nothing to smile about. A heaviness settled in her chest. Later that morning, Auntie Vero called her. Zara, go to the next street and collect something for me from my friend's house. If she's not around, Wait. Zara nodded and set off immediately. The road was long and dusty. When she arrived, the house was quiet. Just as Auntie Vero said, the woman wasn't home, so Zara waited. She sat under a tree near the compound, tired legs stretched out. That was when she saw it, a small ball of wool, beside it, a knitting pin. Her heart skipped, she hesitated, then slowly, as if guided by something unseen, she picked them up. She sat there, waiting, knitting. Her fingers moved naturally, gracefully, like they had always known what to do. She forgot her pain, forgot Auntie Vero, forgot Precious. She was home in her gift. When the woman finally arrived, she stopped in her tracks. "What is this?" she asked softly. Zara looked up, startled, her hands freezing mid-motion. "I'm sorry, Ma," she said quickly. "I was told to wait." But the woman wasn't angry, she was amazed. It was a beautiful foot mat, rich in design, different from anything ordinary. It looked expensive, intentional, alive. "I've never seen anything like this," the woman said. Zara's throat tightened. Inside the house, the woman offered her water and asked questions. Zara spoke, carefully at first, then everything poured out. Her life, her mother, Auntie Vero, the band dresses. The woman listened. When Zara finished, she held her hand. "Don't tell your aunt what we talked about," the woman said gently. Zara nodded. As she left, the woman pressed some money into her palm. "Use it to buy some snacks and soft drink. You look very exhausted." Zara thanked her and left, but instead of buying snacks, she went to the market. She bought wool, she bought knitting pins. That night, she hid them under the mango tree behind Auntie Vero's house, and there, in silence, she knitted. Years passed quietly. By now, both she and Precious had finished secondary school. Auntie Vero placed Precious in a salon to learn hairdressing. It was a disaster. She burnt customers' hair. Every day came with complaints, but Auntie Vero defended her. Zara, on the other hand, worked from morning till night, house chores, errands, cleaning. But under the mango tree, when no one was watching, she kept knitting. Then one Saturday morning, Auntie Vero's friend's sister, a fashion designer, came to visit her. Immediately she entered the house. The first thing she saw was the foot mat. She froze. She picked it up slowly, her eyes scanning every detail. "I've never seen this design in my life. Where did you buy this from?" Her sister smiled. "I didn't buy it, it was my friend's niece that made it. Do you like it?" She smiled. "This is more than beautiful. Please take me to her. She is very talented." They walked together, the road unusually quiet. As they approached Auntie Vero's house, the gate was open, and then, they heard it, a sharp sound, a slap, then shouting, then crying. They stopped walking. Right there, at the entrance of the compound, what they saw next would remain etched in the woman's memory forever. Auntie Vero was beating Zara, not secretly, not indoors, but openly, under the sun. Zara was bent over a large heap of dirty clothes, her hands deep in soapy water. Her clothes were soaked, her back was wet, her shoulders shook as blows landed on her again and again. "Didn't I tell you to wash these clothes properly?" Auntie Vero shouted. Zara tried to explain through tears. "Auntie, I'm trying." But another slap came. "You think because people praised you in school you've grown wings." Precious stood at the doorway, watching, not stopping it. The fashion designer felt something snap inside her. "Stop." Her voice cut through the air. Auntie Vero froze, shocked. "Who are you?" The woman didn't answer immediately. She walked straight to Zara, gently pulled her away from the bucket, and wrapped her arms around her trembling body. "She's shaking," the woman said quietly. "How long has this been going on?" Auntie Vero laughed nervously. "She's stubborn. Children need discipline." The woman looked at her. This time, her eyes were cold. She took out her phone and made a call. "I need you here immediately," she said. "Yes. It's a case of long-term abuse. I'm standing right here." Neighbors began to gather. Whispers started. Within a short time, officials arrived, women from the Women Affairs Commission. Questions were asked. Zara couldn't even speak at first. Her voice was buried under years of fear, but the marks on her body spoke for her. Her cracked hands, her bowed posture, her silence. Auntie Vero's confidence disappeared. "It was for her own good," she said weakly. "I trained her." The officials looked around, at the clothes, at the fear, At the girl who flinched at every raised voice. That same day, Zara was taken away, no goodbyes, no second chances. Auntie Vero was punished, publicly and legally. She was made to answer for years of cruelty she hid under the word family. For the first time in her life, Zara slept without fear. In the weeks that followed, things changed rapidly. Zara was enrolled in a proper fashion school, not as a servant, but as a student. For the first time, her gift was not mocked. It was nurtured. She learned finishing, she learned structure, she learned business. Yet even among trained students, Zara stood out. Instructors whispered, "This one didn't start here." She was born with it. When graduation came, her design stunned everyone. She emerged the best student. Her story reached government officials. They didn't just clap for her, they invested in her. She was given a huge sum of money. A fashion school was opened in her name. Zara, the girl who once hid wool under a mango tree, now stood in front of classrooms, training other girls. Girls who reminded her of herself. Girls with talent but no voice. The greatest moment came when she went home. She found her mother older, thinner, but alive. They held each other and cried, long, broken cries that carried years of pain and relief. That was the day hunger left their house, that was the day suffering loosened its grip, and that was how Zora's story changed, not because life was fair, but because her gift was priceless. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and drop a beautiful comment. Your support gives us the courage to do more. I remain Christy Midnight Tales, bringing Midnight Tales to you. See you again in my next story, and bye.